Alright guys, I'm gonna continue this video a day thing. Some days, these videos, they just kind of roll off the brain, and some days I kind of really struggle to figure out what I'm gonna actually talk about. Sorry. And I also have a very lame camera setup. I'm not pleased with it, so just so you guys know that the audio isn't what I want, the video quality is not what I want, but I'm doing all of this on my phone because I don't really have any other way to do that right now until I get a job or the channel grows, which, I'm not expecting the channel to grow anytime soon. It's probably going to take a while because I'm going to have to get back into it, but that's just an explanation. If you guys can bear with me with the poor audio and poor video. Just the setup that I've been able to get going here. But yeah, I'm digressing, kind of rambling. This video, I actually have a bunch of books on my shelf that I was gonna go over because I actually filmed 2 iterations of this video already, but I didn't like them, so I just deleted them. I have a book by Patrick James, I think that's his name, Patrick James, 107 Proven Ways to Get the Girl, and I was gonna go over the book, but the more I was reading the book, I was like, this is stupid. I don't even want to. Just reading it, I was like, this is so Manosphere pickup artisty. So I just threw that away as a video idea. I have another book over there. These are actually decent books. The Tactical Guide to Women, and I think it's the Practical Guide to Men. I forget the author, but he wrote 2 books. I was going to go over those, but as I was reading, I was like, why don't I just talk about this topic in general? Why don't I just generalize the topic? Because we're at a point now, we're in 2025, where everybody's heard of the manosphere. Everybody knows what feminism is. Everybody knows what has been done to the millennials and Gen Z. They know our plight. And so they've also, the camps have been dug in, guys. You've got the pro-manosphere guys now that are diehard manosphere, where they're basically MGTOW, which I always joke that I'm living a MGTOW life. I'm living a MGTOW incel life, but I'm not really either of those things. It's more of by choice, really. But if you live these lives, they just call you these things. So, but then on the other side with the feminists, you got the TERFs now. If you guys don't know what a TERF is, it's an acronym. It stands for Trans Exclusionary I can't say the word, I'm sorry. Exclusionary Radical Feminist. So essentially all it is it's a feminist that doesn't agree with trans, which is ironic because the entire trans problem was created by feminism to begin with. So that's really funny to me, but that's the new dig in. I think I don't know if I've talked on this channel yet, but there's the Mary Harringtons and the Alex Kachutas that what I would classify as that. Those are the kinds of people that are the kinds of women that basically they still want to vote, which is ironic because all the problems of and I'm going to get into monarchy more on this channel, probably in separate videos, but there's a lot to say about women voting and its consequences, you could say. The 19 and its consequences. And I don't know how much I can get away with on YouTube talking about this. So I'm going to try to tread lightly and, code my words. But like I said, we're in 2025. I feel like a lot of people, maybe not this audience. I don't know what kind of audience I'm going to get on this channel yet. I've scheduled about 2 weeks of videos out now, so they haven't been getting the best views, but that's kind of expected. I'm just going to kind of plug along again and hope the algorithm picks me up. I was reading something about YouTube might still think that this is a sports-only channel, so I might have to go in and private a bunch of videos. I don't really know how that works. I was thinking about doing a completely new channel, to be honest, but I'm just so fond of this Jigsaw channel. I just can't get rid of it. I don't know why. I just really like it. I like the logo that I've created, but yeah. Like I said, as time goes on, I'm going to continue to make videos like digging deeper into these topics. But yeah, it's been about a couple weeks of scheduling these out, and this one will be scheduled way out as well. This will probably be the latest schedule, right? I'm putting a lot of them in the pipe right now because I don't want to fall behind. I'm kind of doing it like more like that. Like I want to make a video a day, no matter what. Sometimes 2 videos a day, and just get them in the pipe and let them go, right? Let them go. So it's 5 minutes in, guys. I apologize. I didn't even really address the topic, but thank you guys for listening to me rant. By the way, I'm just going to use my real name. My name is Joey Jigsaw, as you guys already know, is my. But these are kind of my rambles, and so if you guys like this content, I really would appreciate it if you like the video, comment on the video, share the video, all that jazz, and then make sure you subscribe for sure. I'm trying to push to 1,000 so that I can get some possibilities there. Once you get to 1,000, there's a lot more things you can do on YouTube, but I digress. We'll get to the topic now. I guess that was like kind of the intro. But yeah, the main topic I was wanting to get across after I given you all that backstory of going through the books and all that is that I just started to think of like, is the Manosphere even useful anymore? There's a channel that I really like called Old Glory Club. I talk about Pete Quinones a lot on this show. And, I'm not trying to, like, put thoughts in people's heads. When I bring up these creators, it's more out of an admiration than anything. So I'm not saying, like, they think this way absolutely or whatever. Maybe if the channel grows and I ever get to, like, meet some of these people or in real life, because I've had plans to try to, like, reach out. But then I can talk more on it. But these are kind of the people that I listen to and that I actually respect. So Pete Quinones is one of them, and they're part of the Old Glory Club. And then there's this guy named Red Hawk that he basically is like the host of the Old Glory Club podcast, which I think everybody should check that out. It's a great podcast. But he's the only like red pill guy that I like. And then there is another realm of like these Christian Orthodox red pill guys coming out that I really like as well, like Andrew Wilson, his wife Rachel Wilson. There's this guy named Jim Bob, obviously Jay Dyer. I don't know if I'd consider Jay Dyer a Manosphere type, but he mingles with that crowd. But those are the guys that I like. But the guys that I don't like, which is all the books I have because I bought them 4 years ago. I bought them in 2020 when I was trying to learn all this stuff, is like the Rollo Tomasis, the Richard Coopers, the Ryan Stones, those kind of guys, because it's not them personally, but I just don't like the advice. Kevin Samuels as well. Kevin Samuels was really fun for a while, and then he died, but he was actually one of my favorite creators. I think in 2021 specifically, he was one of the channels I watched the most of that year. If I like went and looked at watch time, like I really thought his show was like awesome because it was so new to me and it was just hilarious. But you start to realize the prescriptions, and I don't know. Kevin Samuels is dead, so who knows how he would have evolved. He was one of the more promising ones, to be completely honest. But a lot of the prescriptions, in my opinion, they just are not viable. Because the problems with modernity are not going to be solved with more modernity. And what the Manosphere really does is they have the same problem as like bitter feminists in a lot of their outlook. It's like women screwed up the world, essentially, which women did with men's permission. That's a huge asterisk. Men did push for this. This goes way back to the suffrage movement, right? Like a lot of Rachel Wilson talks about this. There was a huge anti-suffrage movement, largely of women. Like most women did not want to vote. They did not want the responsibilities of being in politics. They knew, like the smart women knew, which was most women back then, because believe it or not, guys, in the past, common sense and thinking sanely was actually normal, right? This isn't to like crap on us, but this is how bad our our education has become, where we did not learn these fundamental truths in a meaningful way, which is why I'm on this YouTube channel talking to you guys right now. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, she talks about how essentially the whole ploy of feminism was to get women in the workforce, to double the labor being provided so the government could tax more. And this is where the whole GDP concept goes. I've talked about this in the past, so I won't belabor the point again. But the problem with the manosphere is that it's a reaction to this, but it's not addressing the problem. And I don't know how I can say it on YouTube without being like too. I just don't want to. I have no problem talking about these things. I just don't want to nuke my channel from orbit. So the way to solve it, basically, we'll just say, is to reverse all of those things. We live in a inverted society right now, where everything has been inverted from the normal. And what that creates, if you guys are familiar, this is like a really cringe metaphor, but a lot of you guys will get it, is that in like Superman, you have Bizarro. Bizarro is like the inverted of Superman. So like everything Superman is good at, Bizarro is the things that, it's like the evil version of that. So that's the way to think about society, is that we're just inverted, right? So everything that actually works is shunned, and everything that does not work and is dysfunctional is promoted. And this is why nothing works. This is why we live in a clown world. Because again, the clown itself used to be something to be laughed at. Now the clown is something to be celebrated and really worshipped. Like, what do you think the TR? I'm trying to think of a word for this. The TRNs movement. You guys know what I'm saying. I'm gonna be like Jay Dyer. I'm gonna try to think of like code words so that I don't get the channel flagged. But that entire movement is worshiping. You're worshiping clown behavior. It's really what it is, because it's not normal. There's no such thing as a TRNs person. They're a complete fabrication. They're created by trauma, MK Ultra type tactics. They don't exist as an actual thing in reality. Nobody's born that way. It's a Frankenstein creation. So yeah, I'm kind of digressing in, but I'm making my broader point is that the manosphere, the side that I don't like of it, which is the old school manosphere. Again, this goes to the role of Tomasi. This is still largely the manosphere. Like the Myron Gaines, the more modern iterations, like the Myron Gaines fresh and fit people. They bring on these women, which, this is the weirdest thing about watching this, is like sometimes I don't know if that really is all women. Like I know it's not all women, but I'm wondering, like, is this really how most women are now? Because yeah, it seems like any woman's go-to now is just OnlyFans. Like that's like the form of empowerment. That's the new wave of feminism. Is you need to be a prostitute online, and you need to have as many abortions as humanly possible. Completely wild, but yeah, like that's the whole manosphere grift on that side now, is they're bringing on these women, and they're just trying to make them look as stupid as possible. But then I think this came out like several years ago that like with the fresh and fit, they were actually like banging a lot of these women, and so they're just like massive hypocrites. That's what I'm trying to get to, is in my opinion, the only real way to be MGTOW is you have to almost be like an Orthodox monk. If you're going to really do that, you have to try to abstain as much as possible. And I'm not perfect. I have my vices with women. In fact, women is one of my biggest vices in general. Just pornography. Again, I'm trying to think of code words. Anything involving beautiful women. It is a struggle for me. So I'm not up here trying to be holier than thou. I'm just explaining the situation. If it was up to me, to be honest, if I was like God Emperor, I would completely ban pornography. I would just nuke it off the face of the earth. I don't know how you do it, but there's that's something that would have to go first, because that really is the core of modern problems. Is that it affects men and women in different ways, but really equally. It just further degenerates us into insanity. But yeah, so the Manosphere, they have these prescriptions, and I've talked before that one of their big ones is doing exactly that, like going out and having that mindset, that pornographic mindset, like, oh, just go out and just have sex with as many women as possible. Spinning plates, that was the term that Rollo Tomasi talks about. He's so proud of it. He's so proud of having that term. Um, it's like, okay, the sexual marketplace. There's another thing. They call it the sexual marketplace, but again, this is all something that could be dealt with if you had serious people. But again, a lot of I really do think that this is why I can't just completely crap on women for this. I do think a lot of these men really do want the harems. They want, like, because that's the thing that this has done, is it's given like 1% of the men access to like 30% of the women, and then you have like the other 70% of women that think that they're going to be the 30% of the women, so they just never date. Women are very different than men in that way, where they just will not, they won't settle because of the propaganda. The propaganda has infected their brains so much that most of them just want to stay in the workforce, and they always like dream about getting married, but then they get into their 30s and they're it's too late. Like, that's just the way women are. They get to a certain point. They have a very small time to figure this out, and it's the true tragedy of all of this is that they've told women to put off that one thing that they only have a limited time to be the last thing they ever consider doing in their life. And yeah, like I've talked about it before, we're just going to see in the future the millennial generation, my generation, we're going to be in for one of the biggest population crises probably in the history of the country. I don't know if it's going to like destroy the country, but it's going to be like Great Depression levels of struggles going forward because of this. And I don't know how long it'll take to snap out of it. That's something that I've thought about, but anyway, this prescription of men going their own way, but then also just using women as sex toys, essentially, it's just sex objects. It's not going to fix the problem, right? And you can blame women all you want for this. They have their fair share of blame. I'd probably blame women for more problems than men right now just by their actions alone. But I always think about it. It's like we're bigger and stronger than them for a reason, right? Andrew Wilson has talked about this. Like, we could end this like that. Men could just wake up one day and say, you know, it's over, ladies. It's over. You're not in politics anymore. You're not in the schools anymore. Like, it's over. We're ending it all. Like, this could all be done, but it's not being done. And I don't know if it ever will be done. I think the only thing that will cause it to be done is if society literally collapses, which is very likely. There was a recent story, actually, that just happened with they don't know the details of it, but there's a lot of memes going around about she was basically a girl boss, but she crashed a helicopter with 60 people in it and just killed them. Like, everyone just died because this is what DEI, like, Trump was pretty much right at the beginning of the year. Like, DEI is the cause of this stuff, this competency crisis, because people don't know how to do anything, because men, the people that actually should be doing these things, which is men, are being told not to do it. That this is why you have like someone like me, right? Like, I could be doing all sorts of things, but I'm not wanted. Society doesn't want what I have to say. They don't like the way I think. They don't. I'm white. I'll probably get into that. I'm not really like a white nationalist or anything, but the race realism does need to be talked about. It absolutely exists. And so, yeah, like, being a straight white male, that really is what they hate most. And ironically, that is also what gave them their luxury belief to begin with. And they're just pissing it away. They're just pissing it away. So yeah, that's the Manosphere's prescription of how to deal with this. I don't like it, and that's what I was struggling with all these books. I was like trying to cover one book over the other, but I was like, they all kind of have the same message of like, I really hate this generic message too of like, you just need to distract yourself, which I've done, by the way. I've done that for the last 5 years. What pisses me off the most about COVID and all this stuff is that I have been distracting myself for probably, like, if I'm being honest, this was well before COVID. I've been distracting myself for like 15 years because I've done everything the boomers told me to do. I went to college. You know, I've saved myself, you could say. I haven't gone out and been like a man whore and done all this thing. And this is like my own upbringing. I've done everything society has told me, as far as go to college, get a job. I did all that, and then 2020 happens, and it's all gone. So I've been doing nothing but waiting, and the Manosphere prescription is it's the same advice. It's like boomer. It's like just better yourself, bro. Which I do agree with this. I'm not saying you shouldn't do this, because I very much agree, and don't self-destruct. Like, I don't drink if you can avoid it. Like, never start drinking alcohol. Never start smoking weed. I don't know about cigarettes. I would still say don't smoke them, because you'll become dependent. You know, I'm addicted to caffeine. I would say if you can even avoid caffeine, do that, because any vice, I can't remember which saint said this. It's a Christians, but he basically said, it, as you have as many masters as you have vices. So I'm still very much on that prescription of, like, don't self-destruct. Try to reduce your vices as much as possible, and yeah, just anything unnecessary, like tattoos, don't get them. Piercings, you don't need them. Drinking, you don't need it, right? Just avoid anything. You need hobbies, but you don't want to completely self-destruct. But you also don't just want to consider. You just don't want to sit around and distract yourself all the time, and that's kind of what the Manosphere is doing, in my opinion. Is they're distracting you from the real problem, which is the women. So their prescriptions are like, go to the gym, you know, focus on yourself. It's literally the same message that feminists gave women like 50 years ago, right? Don't be a mother, focus on yourself, girl. Never settle, things like this. And this is the whole battle of the sexes, right? It's completely manufactured in many ways, because there is no real battle of the sexes. They're just men and women. Men and women are different. They want different things. That used to work because men had the things women needed, and women provided the things men wanted. It was that simple, and you brought it together, and, you know, babies were born. But now, because modernity, we live in a situation where, because all that matters is GDP and making a profit, we're told that we can. And I don't even know what it is exactly, like why they don't want men and women breeding, but they think that it's something to do with climate change. Like, climate change is the new atheist religion. It's the new Gnostic religion, where just everything revolves around this stupid idea that if we don't get the population under control, right, net zero, if we don't control carbon emissions, then the whole world's going to burn. It's like a non-Christian version of Zionism. It's very cringe. And so that's what our entire political mind, you could say, like hive mind up in Washington and, you know, wherever, the Vatican, even, like any place of authority, this is how they think. This is how they are thinking. Even Donald Trump's still a massive Zionist. It's my biggest criticism of him, because I look at same issue with the woman. It's like, Donald Trump can address all of these problems, but if he doesn't address the Zionist issue, then none of this really matters in the end. But Pete Quinones has talked about this, and I kind of agree. I think that's the final boss of society. I think the woman thing could be tackled even before that. So yeah, I've kind of rambled on now for 20 more minutes, 24 minutes here. Again, Joey, my name is Joey. This is the channel, Jigsaw0097. If you guys are liking this, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share, yada, yada, yada. I really appreciate it. If you guys have been getting through these entire videos, because this is going to be longer form content, I appreciate that. But yeah, I'll kind of try to wrap this up now, because I don't want to go on too long here. But essentially, that's the takeaway, is that I don't think the Manosphere is really that useful anymore, if you actually know, like, it's taught us the lessons, right? Like, we know what the problems are now. Who's going to solve the problems? There's like a new up and coming channel too that I want to kind of shout out here. His name is Raymond Thoughts in Mind. He's a really funny guy, and he's actually my age. He was born the same year as me. I believe he was born in November. He said that in one of his videos, and I was born in May, so he's like a little bit younger than me, but not by much. And he's kind of at the same place I'm at. Like, we know what the problems are. So like, when are we going to start fixing them? That's the question. That's what I feel like we're just still waiting. Again, we're just waiting, because there's too many people that don't want to face reality. They don't want to face the problems of men and women because it's offensive. They don't want to face the problems of race. They don't want to face any of these problems. They don't want to face the fact that like most of modernity is because we've stripped God from the conversation. You can't bring up any of these topics anymore without being a bigot or a racist or a homophobe or anti-Semitic, right? That's a whole nother thing. They say if you say Christ is king, that's anti-Semitic now. Well, I mean, it is anti-Semitic, but it's not like a bad thing like they're trying to make it sound. So this is what I mean. Like, all of the problems, they are laid bare before us. We know what they are. Anyone that's paying attention, right? You guys might not know this, my audience, but that's why I'm making these videos. And these problems are laid bare. We know what they are. I don't think the boomers really knew what they were, but we have the internet now. Like, we can go back and we can read history. We know where these things come from. We have amazing work being done in that realm as far as academic fields, like to the point where colleges are probably going to become absolutely useless because colleges are just to teach you about propaganda. We've learned that as well. Colleges don't teach you how to think, they teach you what to think. And so all the problems are there and we don't solve them. And that's the manosphere. The manosphere knows the problem of women, but there's too many of them that just they won't admit it, but I think they like the way that this is. They like the women being prostitutes essentially, and being so willing to have, because again, like I said, the 1% of men benefit from this. And we've also reached a point in society where, like 50 years ago, this would have been something you'd have to hide, which that's actually a video for another day. Of I think that there should be a lot of things that this is one of the problems with the internet, is that too much has been revealed, and it drives normal people insane. This was kind of the concept of the H.P. Lovecraft novels. But again, that'll be a video for another day. I don't want to talk about that here. But you just have, what's been revealed is you just have the 1% that can afford to run this ring. They want the harem of women. And then about like 30% of the women become those women. But then you have like another 70% of women that just, they think they're going to be that woman. There was a really funny meme where it showed this like really attractive blonde woman and then this like really overweight like ugly woman, and it said, when you realize that these two women are going for the same guy, it'll all make sense. And that's true. So that's in the 70% bracket, because there's a lot of beautiful women in the 70% bracket too. They just don't get chosen for whatever, because beauty isn't really as rare as, that's another thing about women is we prop up these women like they're unique, but beauty is not unique. Like, most men find most women attractive. It's just how it is. We're not particularly picky. Like, we just don't want the women to be like a land whale. That's something I've always said. Like, just don't be fat. Like, women don't even have to try that hard, if I'm being completely honest. All they have to do is not eat as much food. They don't have to really work out as much as men. Because, like, that's another thing. Men don't really care if you have muscles, ladies. Like, we just don't care. We actually prefer you skinny. It's, not like anorexic skinny, but just like normal weight. Like, if you just control your diet and like work out like a normal person, most men would be completely fine with that. It's a lot different for men. Men have to actually work out really hard. We have to gain muscle, otherwise we're not attractive. We become saggy, It's not the same. That's what I'm trying to get at. The standards there are not the same, and so most beauty is not something that is rare. Most women are attractive to most men. Even there's a term called the beautiful mid. There's a lot of women that I've dated that are that, and some of the best women I've dated that I was the most attracted to wore the beautiful mid, because there's this sense of like, they're not as high maintenance, because they're not like, they're not in the hot crazy matrix, right? Like the Megan Fox level. Like the closer you get to the nines and the tens, the crazier they get. The beautiful mid is it's the ideal woman in many ways, and so that's just the problem is because of pornography and all this stuff and feminism, it makes all women think that they can get this Henry Cavill guy. I mean, that was another meme. There was another meme where a woman had a picture of Henry Cavill, and she was like, see, look, he's just got a beard and he's a little bit fat, and it was just laughable, because it's like, Henry Cavill is like, he literally is a 1% guy. Like, that is what I'm talking about here. He is not most guys. Henry Cavill is a complete stud. Even I can admit that. He's like a Chris Hemsworth. That's not most guys. So, men don't have these issues, right? Like I said, I think men struggle with the pornography thing, but the thing about that is most of the women in that, they're not even that attractive, to be completely honest. So, men just kind of have this. I always say that our sexual drive is like food. We just have this point where it's like we have to relieve it, I guess, not to be too graphic on here, but that's kind of how our brains operate. But again, all this used to be satisfied within the confines of marriage and all this. But I'm digressing. We're at 30 minutes here. You guys get the point. And I probably will dive further into this in the future, because I'm trying to keep these videos to a reasonable length. But that's the takeaway, is that it's really a question, is the manosphere useful anymore? Knowing what we know, and we know the problems, is it useful to just continually talk about this and mock women? And I'll make a separate video on the man side as well, because men get mocked as well. But this is more of the I'm kind of like defending women a little bit here. But yeah, that's kind of the video. I'll probably will make a video about like the incels and all that of the man side, because that's the next part of the problem, and they're the ones capable of solving the problem. Women are not going to solve this problem. I'm going to leave it on that. They will 100% never solve this problem. This is why things like TERFs, Mary Harringtons and all those people that are talking about this, they're never going to solve it. Women can start shaming other women again, but the only way that's going to happen is if men start leading the charge of that message, and then the women pick it up and carry it on, because that's what women are good at. They're good at transmitting the values that the man establishes. So that's the video. I'm going to stop it here. And again, like and subscribe if you guys are new, returning, whatever. Share the video. I really appreciate it. Leave some comments as well. I'd like to see some comments, but that's not really been happening, but hopefully soon. But I will talk to you all later.